This video was made possible thanks to our Patreon supporters.
Previously on Growth Spurts.
Can you measure me, big bro? I think I might have grown again. Sorry, guess we should have looked into getting a bigger room for the both of us.
Because I'm too big to fit in there now, silly. And I don't think I'm even remotely done growing.
The now 16-year-old was positively beaming as she grew foot after foot after foot taller.
My unicorn is still my favorite toy. It's almost like a friend to me, and deserves to become just as big as I'll become. However big that will be. Maybe until I'm too big to stay on Earth. Maybe when even the solar system pales in comparison to me. I don't know. I may make my best friends older too, and their parents remember it that way. Later I think it may make things better. I'm not sure yet. Though if any of them would like to join me, I wouldn't mind obliging their wish. I'd certainly make the journey ahead even less lonely. So that's how it's going to be for at least the next while, huh? Ooh, what fun!
How what's gonna be?
Matt asked, only for his sister's body's newest round of growth to do all the necessary talking.
Oh, I'm gonna need a neck brace, aren't I? Or maybe just lie down.
Jessica surged forth, adding feet to her height as though it were virtually nothing. 100 passed, then 120. She continued to expand until about 174 feet tall. By now, pretty much everyone in the neighborhood could see her easily if they looked out in her direction. Noting Matt's statement, which he hadn't really meant to be taken seriously, Jessica got an idea. She announced loudly, but still not uncomfortably.
I'm not even near done my latest bout of growth yet, brother. However, I really think you should get a much better view.
Better view of what? Her face? It only fills up the entirety of my vision, and I don't really want to be able to count each pore on her face.
Matt noticed her hand, easily big enough now to pick up a car like a toy, stretched out before him and hopped on. To his surprise, she brought him up to her face, smiled ever so warmly, then placed him on her right shoulder, which was so massive he had little trouble standing on it, if a tad precarious. She then turned her head slightly, her flowing blue hair avoiding him, seemingly of its own accord, continued smiling and said,
Are you ready, brother? Going up!
Having said that, she allowed her body to do what it wanted to do, outside of damaging anything, of course, and grow, and grow, and grow. Matt felt her shoulder expand out in all directions beneath him. The fabric of her costume stretched out and away from him as she passed the 200-foot mark. He noticed it wasn't quite as quick as before. Was she slowing down? Matt guessed otherwise. Since she wanted him here, on her still expanding shoulder, she must have also wanted the experience of standing on the shoulder of a growing girl to be a pleasant one. This smooth upwards growth continued until she finished at a truly amazing 345 feet tall. The nearby trees were humbled by her knee. Not one could even hope to brush the bottom of her kneecap. As soon as Jessica placed her unicorn to her lips and blew it up to a mighty and squeaking size of roughly 800 feet, giggling between breaths, Matt was almost positive now that she wasn't actually breathing. Her skyscraping body no longer needed it. She was simply going through the motions, as it were.
Of all the girls in the world that this could have happened to, I would have loved for it to have been my girlfriend, if I still had one. But of all the girls in the world that this could happen to, I'm sure glad it happened to my sister, gentlest girl I know.
However, whilst Matt was thinking this, he said it aloud unintentionally.
Aw, thanks, bro. You know, I think I'd like to leave you on my shoulder for now. Is that alright?
He knew full well that Jessica had heard his wish for this to have happened to a girlfriend of his, but her question threw him for a loop. Then again, he was without one for the moment. Either way, he felt comfortable standing on her colossal shoulder, and made it clear that he didn't mind.
Fine by me.
He then remembered the playdate with Sammy that his sister had arranged for today. If reality was all but her plaything at this point, what did Jessica do about it? Did she even remember it? Or had she changed reality so that they never arranged for it? But, if she did that, why was she still in her costume? As Matt looked down, getting harder to distinguish what was going on at ground level as he felt Jessica begin to grow again, he noticed a white and red thing moving towards her. The sea of blue strands shifted as she looked down when the thing poked her toe, and it disappeared. Matt started to wonder what it was, and where it went off to, when a voice shouted,
Hiya, Matt! Isn't this awesome?
Matt nearly jumped out of his skin when he heard it, and turned around to see... Sammy? Jessica's best friend stood before him, and Jessica giggled with a slight mischievous tone as she grew to 686 feet tall.
I was expecting Sammy to show up. I still remember the play date in the paddling pool, though I'm obviously way too big to fit in there. But first...
Before Matt could ask what she was getting at, he saw Sammy shudder slightly and start shooting up like a weed.
It wasn't purely growth, but rather like he was watching Sammy's growth into teenagerhood and fast forward, until she was around a little over 16 by his best estimate. She was now 5'10", and possessed a body that would have little trouble grabbing a boy's attention. It was certainly doing so to Matt, and her bright two-piece swimsuit was leaving little to the imagination. Sammy seemed a little surprised at her new stature, but seemed to quickly adjust as her mind caught up with her body.
I see someone here likes what he sees. Can't say I blame you, Matt. I can only hope this is what I would have looked like if I grew up to be this age naturally, rather than someone's influence.
Jessica shrugged her shoulders, causing Matt and Sammy to move up and then down with them, as she childishly responded with,
Not telling.
Then, gathering her thoughts, Jessica laid out her plans to Sammy.
You may or may not be wondering why I've aged you, Sammy. Regardless, the answer is that I have an offer for you, and I need you to think about it with a level of maturity, to know the full extent of what this will entail so you won't make your decisions lightly. I want to grant you an extent of this power. Basically, you'll grow and grow like I do, though you won't be quite as tall as I. You won't have to worry about eating, drinking, and whatnot, but you'll be pretty much leaving everyone else behind. There's some other delightful things that come with it, but I'd rather let you find out on your own if you accept. I trust you as my best friend to be about equal in power. So, now that you've been informed, what's your decision? If you choose to decline, though, I won't revert you back to a 6-year-old.
Sammy thought the decision over, and quite visibly too. After weighing her options, she answered,
You know what, Jessica? I accept your offer.
Jessica was delighted, but thought to give a second chance to decline, just in case.
You sure? You may...
I'm sure. I want to be the second greatest goddess ever known, and friends with the greatest goddess, aka the Pink Protector. An honor like that? How can I refuse, even if it means having to potentially say goodbye to my other friends and loved ones? I know you have to face the same things, right? I think it's best we face these together.
Slowly, Jessica nodded, then teleported Sammy back down to the ground. Matt saw his sister close her eyes in concentration, and then he saw Sammy begin to faintly glow beautifully in colors humanity had no names for, like all the colors of the rainbow, and yet none of them at the same time. When Jessica opened her eyes again, the glow around Sammy faded away, and then Matt felt his sister rise even higher into the sky, leaving 800 feet in the dust. As she grew, Matt saw Sammy begin to rise even in proportion to Jessica.
She's got a bit of catching up to do,
She explained, as 900 feet was soon left for her friend to achieve. But Matt was soon distracted as a massive head covered in red hair came into view without even having to look down any longer. Soon, Jessica halted at 1,371 feet tall, and Matt watched Sammy continue to grow a bit more, while she blew up her unicorn to well over half a mile. Finally, Sammy herself stopped at 1,200 feet tall. although at this height the difference seemed almost negligible. Like Jessica, she maintained her costume.
I don't care if every boy in this planet is the size of an ant or a flea to me. I'm not letting them see me naked. That said, though, wow! That was amazing! I can see my house from here. I think I can even see our old school from here.
And that's the end of part 3. Join us next Monday for the 4th part of Jessica, Sammy, and Matt's growing adventure, where they'll leave the neighborhood. I hope you have a lovely week. See you!